Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to today's Stamping and Creating. Apologies for the last few weeks. I haven't been able to go live on Facebook. In fact, I've been hardly able to do anything on my laptop because our internet went out and we were totally without for 2 whole weeks. So thank you for bearing with me. I did try and post as and when I could, and when I could get phone signal, because that was the only way I could do it. Or I went to visit my mum and made use of her internet. I think she got fed up with me moving everything off her dining room table so that I could then set up. So I figured now that everything's back working as normal, I will try and return to normal as soon as possible. So today I'm going to share with you a couple of cards and a bundle which you will find come 6th of September in the new September to December mini catalogue. But before I make a start, I am going to make sure that this is actually going out properly. And I think it is by the looks of it. Yep, which is good. Right, so, yes, the September to December mini catalogue goes live on 6th of September. Now, I already have a copy. In fact, I've already got lots of copies because I sent them out the other day. This is what it looks like. I can't share you the inside just yet. Of course, when I do send them, it's not going to have Fiona's copy written all over it like I have here. It's just so that I know that this is mine, because I've marked it up inside as to the things that I've actually ordered. And this stamp set here is actually one of the ones that I'm featuring in this year's Stampin', which is in October. So that's currently available for booking now. So you'll find the details of that on my blog on oakvillecrafts.com. But anyway, so I'm not using that today because I'm going to save that for the Christmas Stampin'. What I am using, as I said, is something else. It's called Winter Meadow. So when I first opened up the catalogue, I saw this stamp set and I thought, that is definitely one of my must-haves. Living in the countryside, well, I say countryside, we're like a mile from the centre of town, so it's not really countryside per se, but we do have some woodland next to us. So we do have owls, and I quite often hear them at night. One doing their twit and the other one doing their too-woo, because I always thought the twit-too-woo was actually one bird, and in fact it's not. It's one bird answering another bird. So anyway, I digress. So this is the stamp set that I have been playing around with the last week. I've actually made quite a lot of cards, but I'm not going to share all of them today because I'm going to do a tutorial with them all in, which will be available by the 6th of September, which if you purchase the bundle, you will get it for free. And it'll have both UK and US sizes. So if you want the tutorial, then you can just purchase the tutorial for £5. But anyway, so this is the stamp set. It's red rubber, so it's cling. And this is the real size of everything. So we have 3 owls, branches, top of tree, whatever you want to call them, 3 sentiments, a moon, and some snow. And that's the whole of the stamp set. So there are 9 stamp sets. 9 stamp sets. There are 9 stamps in the set. And then to go with the stamps, there is a set of dies. Now there are 10 dies in this. Let's move that out of the way. Here we go. This is where it all falls out. Okay. So some of them are designed to cut out the images, and then there are also some additional images. So let me just move these 2 cards out the way. Now this stamp set, the front here actually is at 100% because it doesn't say that it's not. So we have some dies that cut out. So we have one for that owl. We have one for this little owl. This funny little shaped one is for that owl. Then we have, I thought I had one, I don't make that, there isn't a die for that, but there are branches. There is one for the moon. And then there are, say, this one and these two that you can use to make a tree. So you can just have that as a tree with an owl's head poking out. Add some branches, have another owl sitting on it, or just have the branches coming onto the page from wherever. And then these three, so we have this one and these two, create this rather gorgeous owl. So here's the head and the tail and part of the wings, and then these two bits here are these pieces. So you can make it, it's a pretty large owl. So this is a standard C6 card, so you can see for yourself just how large it is. So on this one, I stamped the moon and die cut it out, stamped a sentiment and used the stylish shape dies, and then from some basic white, just cut the owl, glued it together, stamped along the bottom with this image. So I sort of started tall and went shorter, and I did second stamping as well. So I stamped and then I re-stamped again without re-inking, and then sort of did that. So you have a subtle effect there of, looks like trees in the background. And then these rather lovely gems are called the Faceted Gem Trio Pack. It's called a Trio Pack because there are 3 colours. So we've got Silver, Clear and Lost Lagoon. So those are those. So these will also be in the catalogue. Now the gems are not part of the collection with the owls in. The owls just come as a bundle. And what I have done is I have paired it with some rather gorgeous paper, which is called, if I can find my details, where is it? There we go. It's called Winter Meadow. So the Winter Meadow paper is actually part of its own collection, but I decided that I was going to pair it with the owls, and you'll see why in 2 seconds. So let's just move those out of the way. Hopefully they're completely out of the way, but anyway. So this is the Winter Meadow paper. If you can, probably can't see too well, but the paper underneath here is some textured paper, which you'll find in the annual catalogue, and I'll show you that in a second. So I've put a layer of that there under the paper and then glued it all to the card front. And then this is another piece of the paper from the same pack, just to decorate the inside. This card is it's pretty much the same in that there is a layer of, it's a panel of cardstock, a panel of paper, and then this time I actually stamped the moon directly onto the paper. And then this is the textured paper that I was talking about. You can see that there are lines. In fact, if I run my finger over it, you can just sort of hear it. So that's what I use, and that, as I said, you will find in the annual catalogue, and it's hidden away. So it's something that quite a lot of people miss. So it's this paper here, item 5. It's called a textured shimmer paper, and it comes in a pack of 6, and there are 2 each of shaded spruce, balmy blue and white. So I used the white for this, and it costs £9. No, yeah, £9.50 for the 6 sheets. So that's what I used on this one. And again, I put a piece of the paper on the inside of the card. I'll show you the paper because it's worth seeing. Now I cut most of it into 6x6 just so that I could show you it all in one go. But then there was one particular piece, and I'll show you that first because it's rather gorgeous and looks like this. So it has foliage on one corner and then the diagonally opposite corner. So this would make an absolutely glorious scrapbooking page for winter. But of course you can just simply cut it up into, if you cut it into 6, so you'd cut it in half and then 3 going across, and that will give you enough for 6 cards. So that's another idea for it. Or of course you can then just use it for other bits and pieces. But that's the one sheet that I just did not want to cut up because I wanted you to see the total effect that the paper has on there. And on the other side it's blueberry bushel. So it's a pretty dark blue. So that's that. So we've also got like shaded spruce, various other colours, and that's moody mauve. So another sheet has got these small little trees on. So again, you could use that as part of a landscape if you wanted to make a card that had some focal point that you could then put on the front and on the back. It's got simple sort of splotch effect. Now this is another rather stunning piece. So it's in black and smoky slate, but you'll notice that there are some deer. So we have one here and one here. And this is a 12 by 12. So this is only half of it. Well, it's a quarter of it because the other half would be up there. So again, it's something you can just cut in half and then cut it into 3 going across and have 6 cards, or make a square card. It's really up to you. And on the reverse side of that, it's some pebble path. There's that. Then we have some more sort of landscapey scenes. So we have more trees. Looks like it's sort of on hills and things. And then on the reverse of that is some smoky slate. Water effect. This is another rather nice paper. So we've got the berries and the fronds all over. So again, that's a really nice background piece. And yeah, it is blueberry bushel, that one, for the blue. And then last but not least, we've got, and I never know which way around this goes, so we have some berries and some shaded spruce, shaded spruce, lost lagoon, pretty peacock, like water effect, watercolouring effect. So that's the paper, which I said is not actually part of the owls. So it's called Winter Meadow, and there is a stamp set and dies to go with it. But I'm not actually going to use that particular stamp set and dies today. And then these gems go with it, as does this rather lovely ribbon. So this is a sheer silver ribbon. Makes really pretty bows. So it's although it's quite wide, it's like 1.3 centimetres. The bows, it's soft, so it's very easy to make into a bow, and then you can obviously pull it around and tidy it and sort it however you want it. So that will make a rather nice bow, as you can see, very easy. All right, so today, so I was going to use the Winter Meadow, but I've already used that one, and I used the back of that one for my 2 cards that I've already made. So that was that one. This is that one. Now I could do this one, but actually as I was preparing all of this, it suddenly struck me that I have one sheet of paper from the One Horse Open Sleigh collection, which is one of the online exclusives, that I have not been able to use. And when I dug it out, I thought, you know what, because it looks like this, I think it would be rather nice to have an owl sailing across this. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the textured paper. So this is the textured shimmer. It is, as you can probably see, it's kind of will send your eyes a bit funny on the screen. So it's ribbed and it's shiny. We like shiny. So that's that. So I've got those 2 pieces that I'm going to use. Now I'm going to make a square card. It's not something that I make that often. So I have a piece here of Night of Navy and Misty Moonlight. I thought that these would look kind of nice with these. Now, our A4 cardstock is 21 centimetres by 29.5. So if I want to use the full width here, actually I'm going to cut it down to 29. Just so that, and I'm going to use the Night of Navy as the background. So I need to pull the arm out. So I'm just going to take a little bit off. So I'm going to line this up with the 29 centimetre mark. And I'm going to use the darker of the 2 blades, because this is the cutting blade and the other one is the scoring blade. So I'm just going to take off that very small slice. Now half of 29 is 14.5, so I need to cut this at 14.5 wide. Like so that when I turn it and score it at 14.5, I will have a square card. Now this time I want to make sure that I move the darker grey blade out the way, because I do not want to cut. I want to score, so that's the lighter colour. And there we have it. So there is my square card. And I'm also going to cut a panel of Misty Moonlight. And I want that to be 0.5 centimetre smaller, so that only needs to be 14 by 14 centimetres, that is, not inches. And you would do exactly the same thing with your US size paper. So we now have that mat. But this is going to be too big because it's a 6 by 6, which is like 15 and a bit, 15.5, thereabout, 15.2 centimetres. But I only need it to be 13. So I kind of have to decide which do I want to take off, or do I want to take off a bit of everything? You know, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and make it so that it's, and then that's going to change that to 13. So basically I'm taking off 1 centimetre from each side, just so that I have the trees in the same perspective still, rather than so it's in the middle rather than off to one side. So when I lay that on there, in theory, it should sit quite nicely, and I've obviously gone and cut it too much. So what have I done? I would say that, let's measure that. How wide is that? That's 13, and that's not quite 13. It is now. So there we go. So that's how that's going to look. So that's my base card. I then need to cut some white to go on the inside, which I'll do that last actually. And then I need to die cut the owl and the two wings. No, he's not going to fit on there. I know that. So I'm not even going to attempt, but he will fit on here. I'm going to use my little Stampin' cut and emboss machine. So this is it. And excuse the squeaky noises. Right, so this is my width. I just want to make sure that this will fit on, which it will. There's nothing worse than trying to put it through and then realising actually it's too big. So that's fine. And if I bring my trimmer back, I can see how much I need to cut it down to. Don't need that. So if I just line my edges up with, that's where the cutting. So if I make it 7 centimetres wide, so we're going to go here. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to put the bird on. He's going to have to go that way. And the two wings. Now, because this is just cutting out the shapes, I'm not too worried if it moves slightly, other than the fact that I don't want it to go off. So I'm not going to worry about having using some washi tape or anything to hold it together. This should be enough to do it. So let's put that through the machine. Why won't that go through? Make sure. The thing did move slightly, but hey. This should be okay to go through. There's no reason why not. Sometimes it's good not to have the edges of your cutting plates actually lined up, or like the front leading edge, because it makes it easier. If they're not, it'll go in slightly easier. Right, so there we go. So that should, on the floor, have cut out my birdie. This is the owl, there's his wings, so there's all sorts of bits that you don't need that will pop out. If they don't, then using your, take your pick tool, and you can get a die brush end for this, but I'm quite happy just to use the pokey tool to get all the bits out. So you'll see that it cuts out one part of the wing, and then the other part of the wing, it just cuts like a slot in it. So those do go all the way through. Similarly here, I just want to poke out his eyes and nose, or beak I should say. Doesn't have a nose, although I guess a beak is a nose. Let's just push these out. Again, you want to make sure that the tail bit's out as well. So that's that one, and then the other one's still in this die. Oops. There we go. So this should come out fairly easily. Like that. Okay, so I've got a bird, body, 2 wings. Put those to one side. I've got all these little bits here that I really do not need. But I'm just going to push them to the back of my workspace in the vague hope that I'm not going to end up just pushing them all on the floor. Okay. So he is going to go together and be put on there. Now I have to go and get my other card back, I think, because I have to remember which way. So these more solid pieces here from on the wings are the bits that go closest to the body. And you want this first open piece there to line up with that first mark there. So it's going to go on like that. And you can play around so that it sort of sits how you want it to. So I'm just going to put some glue along that edge. You do have to make sure that you've got the right one on the right wing. But as I said, you don't need to put great big round globs of it. You just need to run a sort of a small line of it. And then, as I said, this more solid part goes closest to the body. And line that first line there up with that first like dent on the feathers. Oops, let's see. You will go. Like so. And you're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. There we go. So happy with that. Oops, she says, and it falls off. Might want to just let it dry for a minute or two. Maybe that's what I should do, just for a second. Not start sticking the actual card together. That might be the best thing if I just leave that to dry. So I'm going to add some glue. To this. Make sure it's central. Like so. Now that's my base card, and I didn't use a bone fold. Let's see. Has disappeared, but you know what, you can use one of your acrylic blocks. Make sure it's all lined up, and then just run your block up and down it. So that is going to sit on there. And we need to decide, no, I want it that way, I think. I'm going to glue this flat because I'm going to put the owl on with some dimensionals. So that's that. My owl, so I'm going to have him here, I think, because that just leaves me a bit of space to put a sentiment on. And then the question is, what sentiment do I want to use? Let's move those dies out of the way. And do I want to stamp it directly onto here, in which case I should have done that first. Or do I want to do something else? See, I quite like that sentiment that says, may you have time to enjoy the quiet moments of this season. But I might be risking it just to simply put that directly on there. Maybe that will just go inside and just put him central. I think that would work. Dimensionals. Now, when you're adding your dimensionals, you want to make sure that you're not covering up, obviously, these holes here. Where there are cuts that come through, that's okay, but don't put them over, under, I should say, where the holes are for the beak and things like that. So just keeping to like the small. I'll put a couple of big ones on, but then I think just using the mini dimensionals will work in strategic places. You want to make sure that things are not going to be, I was going to say flapping around, but obviously that's a bit odd when it's supposed to be a bird, but you're not actually going to have him flapping around. So, you know what, I am going to put him slightly off centre. I know that will annoy some people, but I'm not so bad about that sort of thing. It does mean that I've got space to put a sentiment on if I want to. Oh, that's got a backing on it. I can't get it off. Don't know why. Got it. Those things get everywhere. So, I think if I put him here. That's it, so he's there. Now I could have used a dauber and taken to the edges of the wings and things and coloured them grey or whatever colour you would like. But I actually like, because this is a textured paper, I quite like the effect of just having the textured paper. So that is that. And now I've got Sending Love. This is the stamp set that goes with the paper. Maybe we'll use the Winter Wishes. See, I haven't even opened this one yet. It's all still here. And for those of you who haven't seen me do this before, I'm just putting the clear backing on the stamp so that you know which way round the words are. You need to take off the backing from the actual clear piece, and then you also need to take it off the stamp itself. And then it's simply a case of lining them up. At least this is how I do it. There are lots of other ways, but this is what I prefer to do. And then I will sort of tap it on the back of my hand, just because it's incredibly sticky. Oh, I quite like that there. So I'm going to go for it. What the heck? Might regret it, but hey. Stamp set. The other way to do it, if you want it, sometimes, although these line up perfectly, the shape of the stamp, you don't necessarily always get the words cut in the right place. Because obviously this is all done by machine. And there is a sort of level of tolerance to this. Right, I'm going to have to go this side. So I want to put my head over this so that I can see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the bottom edge of my acrylic block in line with one of these lines. And then I'm just glancing through the block and using the lines that I can see to simply make sure that the wishes is straight, so that I know that when I stamp this, so long as I stamp it with the block straight, it should be straight on the card. And I'm going to turn the card upside down to do that. And let's see. Failing that, I will just stamp it onto some basic white, and then I will cut it out and hide any errors. That's the other way to deal with it. And ink. I think I'm going to use some Misty Moonlight. That ties in nicely with the rest of the card. Let's see how well this works. So if I line that bottom edge up with that, it's pretty good. Here's hoping. Oh, that's okay. Winter wishes. And then I can add some of the gems, which I've put here. I think I'm just going to stick to the clear ones. Don't really want the pokey tool, I want my putty end. So I'm just going to slide them off, pick it up. They're quite large, these. That's that bit. And now I just need to do the inside. So for that I need some white. Some basic white. And I need my trimmer. I know my card is 14.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres, so this piece needs to be 14 by 14 to go on the inside. And again, I want to use the dark coloured blade to trim, to cut it rather than the lighter blade to score. Hopefully should fit neatly in there. Yep. And then before I glue that in, I'm going to do some extra stamping. So I'm going to use this image here. From one of the kits that I got. Let's see. So I'm going to do one tree, whoops, make sure it's ink in the middle. That is first generation, like so. And then that one is second generation. And don't know that I'll get away with third, so I'll just re-ink it and put it here. Put the first generation there. Now I could use this portion again, but the problem is that because I did it so that it was half going off the paper, you'll see that the ink is still on there, but it's come off there because it's now on there. So if I was to stamp this again, it would have one half normal and one half dark. So just be wary when if you're doing this sort of technique, that if you are going to be using the second generation, that it is second generation all over, not just part of the actual image. Otherwise it'll just look a little bit odd. So as I said, this stamp set, the bundle, the paper will be in the new mini catalogue that comes out on the 6th of September. I have already sent out catalogues to those who come to Card and a Cuppa or who have placed an order with me in the last 6 months. Hopefully you have now, if that's you, then hopefully you have received them. If you don't have a UK demonstrator and would like a copy of the catalogue, I'm more than happy to send one to you. And I'll put a link in. In fact, there is already a link in most of my YouTube videos, so you'll be able to find them there just to do a request to catalogue. Other things going on, it's August, so bonus codes. They expire at the end of the month, so if you earned some bonus codes last month, then don't forget to use them up by the end of this month. Kits collection are on sale. There's up to 30% off. All the kits in the kits collection are on sale, including the latest ones, and there's up to 30% off. If you're planning on coming to the next kit together, which is on the 8th of September, then order your kits now and just save yourself little bit of money. It doesn't matter whether you order the 1 or the 2 and you come to September and November. It's really up to you. I'm putting an order in on the 25th, so if you let me know by the 24th what you want, or alternatively you can just simply go online and have it delivered direct to you. What else is there? Card and a Cuppa. Oh, that's the next one, is on the 6th of September. That's the first Wednesday of them in September. That's still like 2 weeks away. That's crazy. And deadline for ordering your September kits is this coming Friday, which is my sister's birthday. And what else? There's one, oh yeah, and I've already mentioned Christmas Stamper Stack. If you go on to oakfieldcrafts.com, click on the classes and events tab at the top, and then click on in-person classes. That will take you to the page where you can book. Spaces are limited, and I'm already 60% full, even though it's not until October. So if you do want to come to Stamper Stack, please book on as soon as you can, because I'm only running one this year, and I hate for you to miss it. And so yeah. Anyway, so that's that for today. So this was today's Stamping and Creating card. And then the other two that I was sharing with you. So this paper that I've used is the One Horse Open Sleigh paper, which you'll find in the online exclusives. And buried the other cards. Oh no, there they are. And these are the other two cards that I made using the paper that is in the new catalogue, called Merry Moments. So all of these are great. So you can, as you can see, hopefully you can see that there's something for everyone in the to use these owls. Even I think this would make a great Hedwig for Harry Potter and things like that. All sorts of stuff. I've got lots of ideas that I'm going to be putting things together, and I'll be sharing those over the next couple of weeks. Anyway, so thank you for watching. This will go up on YouTube as soon as I can, which hopefully should be no later than tomorrow, seeing as I got a decent internet again. But who knows? Anyway, take care, and I'll see you next week at another Stampin' and Creating. Bye.